Shalom. First off, I'd like to give an all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who continue to teach us this truth, and salutations to Joachim out there doing the work of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai sincerely. Right, this is the brother Kakam with another lesson. Well, part two, rather, of the same lesson, which is spiritual social conduct. And we were reading Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 18. And we're going to pick up exactly where we left off at verse 14. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 18, verse 14. It says, He hath mercy on them that receive discipline and that diligently seek after his judgments. My son, blemish not thy good deeds, neither use uncomfortable words when thou givest anything. Shall not the dew assuage the heat? So is a better word than a gift. All right, so in other words, what it's saying is that sometimes the best way that you can, sometimes the best way that you can interact with someone is not by giving them a gift and making them feel bad or, using bad language or saying the wrong thing. Sometimes you just need to say the right thing, all right? Say something good, all right? It says, shall not the dew assuage the heat? In other words, shall not water, right? Something that combats the heat, assuage the heat. Assuage the heat. So, in other words, being able to say the right thing is better than giving someone a gift. All right, being able to comfort someone is better than giving them a gift. All right, it says, "Lo, is not a word better than a gift? But both are with a gracious man." All right, but someone with grace, he's gonna be able to do both, use both. It says, "A fool will upbraid churlishly, and the gift of the envious consumeth the eyes. Learn before thou speak, and use physic, or thou shalt be sick." All right, so learn before you speak. Know what you're talking about. All right, it says, and use physic, or ever thou be sick. All right, it says, before judgment examine thyself, and in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy. Exactly. So before you go and try to judge someone, and this is more talking about within the brotherhood, you try to reprove someone, you try to judge someone, you try to say like, oh yeah, that brother's no good, or whatever the case is, or that brother's going off because of X, Y, and Z, whatever the case may be. All right, these are all hypothetical situations that may or may not be applicable to the listener, but just to give the example, all right, it says to what? To examine yourself, all right? And in the day of the visitation, thou shalt find mercy. So in the day when the Lord comes back, you're going to find mercy. Because just like how you're judging brother number one, you might be wrong. Or you might be judged just as harshly as you judged brother number one. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that could happen, It says, humble thyself before thou be sick, and in the time of sins show repentance. Exactly. So humble thyself before thou be sick. Exactly. So humble yourself in general before you'll be sick, before you'll be old, before you're not in a good place. When you're in a good place, humble yourself. All right, because just like how you're in a good place now, you can be in a bad place tomorrow. The Lord is in charge of all those things. It says, humble thyself before thou be sick, and in the time of sins show repentance. And in the time of sins, show repentance, show change, show that you are, changing that behavior. It says, let nothing hinder thee to pay thy vow in due time, and defer not until death to be justified. All right, so it says, let nothing hinder thee to pay thy vow in due time. Exactly. So if you make a vow, whether it be to the Lord, all right, whether it be to whether it be a small vow about something that a behavior you want to stop that you've made to the Lord, or whether it be, the ultimate vow, which is staying faithful unto death, you need to make sure that you let nothing hinder thee. All right. And it says, and defer not until death to be justified. All right. And don't defer until death. It says, before thou prayest, prepare thyself and be not as the one that tempteth the Lord. Exactly. So before you pray, prepare yourself. All right. Wash yourself, clean yourself up. All right. Get on your knees and, pray how it is instructed to pray. All right. In Matthew chapter 6. All right. It says, think upon the wrath that shall be at the end, and in the time of vengeance, when he shall turn away his face. Exactly. So think about the wrath in the end. These are things that we should be thinking about those bad times, the end times. All right, the day of the Lord's the day of the Lord's vengeance. It says, when he shall turn away his face. All right, so in the day of the Lord's vengeance, he's going to turn away his face. All right, not from his elect. Lord willing, I'm one of those men, but he's going to turn his face from the rest of the world, 2/3 of our people, 2/3 of the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the people that descend from them. It says, when thou hast enough, remember the time of hunger, and when thou art rich, think upon poverty and need. Exactly. So when you have enough, if you are ever able to have enough, remember the times that you were hungry. All right, it's going to keep you humble. It's going to keep you down to earth. It says, remember, when you have enough. It says, remember the time of hunger, and when thou art rich, think upon poverty and need. So think about the poor, man. Think about those poor times. And even just because you're good doesn't mean the brothers around you are going to be good. It doesn't mean that they're not going to have problems either. You might have enough, but the next brother might not. And that's something that we need to consider. So just because you might be out of poverty doesn't mean everyone around you is out of poverty. It says, from the morning until the evening, the time is changed, and all things are soon done before the Lord. A wise man will fear in everything, and in the day of sinning, he will beware of offense, but a fool will not observe the time. Exactly. So it says a wise man will fear in everything. All right. So a wise man is cautious, making sure that he's not sinning in anything that he's doing, even though we understand that it's impossible to keep 100% of the laws. All right. But a wise man is making sure he's thinking about every possibility. And one of the things that this reminds me of is, elder brother, Amna, he was talking about how basically we was talking about food and how in reality, you're not even supposed to be cooking in the same pots and pans as people who are using it to cook pork, you know? And that's wise right there. That's wise right there. That's being cautious. You don't want to offend the Lord, you know? That line right there reminds me of that. It says a wise man will fear in everything. All right? It says, and in the day of sinning he will be aware he will beware of his offense, and in the day of sinning he will beware of his offense. All right? And if he does go off, he's going to be, he's going to be active. He's going to be cautious about it as well. But a fool will not observe the time, but a fool won't even consider that maybe what he's doing is offensive unto the Lord. It says, every man of understanding knoweth wisdom, and will give praise unto him that found her. All right, so every man of understanding knoweth wisdom, and will give praise unto him that found her. All right, it says, they that were of understanding and sayings became also wise themselves, and poured forth exquisite parables. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites. If thou givest the soul the desires that pleases her, she will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies that malign thee. Exactly. So, this is actually going 100% against what society tells you, what the society says. Society says, oh, do whatever you want. Society says, do whatever you want. Do as thou wilt. Follow your dreams. What the scriptures say, what? Scriptures say, refrain from thy lusts. Right? Whether it be a lust for sex, whether it be a lust for money, whatever your lust and your, you know, vice may be, it says what? It says to refrain from them. Why? Because it says, if thou give thy soul the desires that please. So if you do as your heart pleases, as your soul pleases, then she will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies. So your soul, you're going to be made look stupid to thine enemies. It says, take not pleasure in much good cheer, neither be tied to the expanse thereof. Be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing. Exactly. This is a very good one, man. This is a beautiful line. This is a beautiful ending line right here. It says, be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing. And a lot of you niggas out there in the world do this, man. All right? You over here popping bottles in the club, all right? Making it rain on these hoes. Meanwhile, your rent is due the next week, and you're trying to figure out. You're not even you know that that's the rent money you doing all that flashing and flash shit with. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna try to somehow finagle it, whether it be borrowing from this person or borrowing from that person. So it says, be not made a beggar by banqueting upon borrowing, when thou hast nothing in thy purse. For thou shalt lie in wait for thine own life and be talked on. Exactly. You're gonna be someone that people talk about. Yo, this guy's priorities ain't right, man. You know? So these are all things that we should be considering consistently. All right? All right. So, hey, man, I like to give an all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai, the honors of the apostles and elders of the millstone who rule well, continue teaches this truth, and salutations to you, Akim, out there doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shai sincerely. And until next time, Shalom.